Florida residents are picking up the pieces days after Hurricane Milton made a direct hit, bringing historic winds and flooding to parts of the state. The storm did not make landfall exactly where it was projected. The places where it did hit are still picking up the pieces days later. Here with us now is Mayor Anderson of Anderson Milton in Fort Myers, Florida. Mayor Milton, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for joining us. I know it's been a busy time for you. We really appreciate it.
Hey, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. We know it's been a tough couple of weeks in your state. How's your community doing this morning?
Our downtown last night was back up, open, running for business. People were outside having dinners. I think the word that I heard a lot was thankful. Thankful that we didn't get hit worse than we did.
That is great news, Mayor. Talk about the specific challenges that the storm surge has brought to Fort Myers. This is a popular area, it's a touristy area, and of course the impact of recovering from back-to-back storms.
Well, especially along the river, the low-lying areas, they got flooded once again. These were people who just barely got back into their homes. Also, that includes the downtown area where we rely on a lot of people to come and have dinner, go to the little bars, the little shops, and spend money. So, it really does hurt the businesses. However, I have to say they're very resilient. Like I said, they were up and running Friday. They've been through this before. They took the proper precautions to minimize the impact. And, another word I'll throw out there is perspective.
Yeah.
While it was bad, it wasn't as bad as we expected. And while it wasn't as bad as we expected, we know that we have neighbors to the north of us that were hit much worse.
Mayor Anderson, what do Fort Myers residents need right now as many of them are coming back to their homes and surveying the damage potentially for the first time?
So, like I said, we're pretty much back up and running. Last check is, we had 18,000 people without power. Last time I checked, it was just under 7,500. I know the crews have been out there, so power is still an issue. We have gas. Grocery store shelves are still not stocked, but the trucks are coming in. So like I said, we are definitely bouncing back.
Let's talk about FEMA. We know they've been under fire over the response to Helene. Are you getting enough support from the federal agency organization?
Well, we have in the past with Ian, we got plenty of support. Of course, it's too soon to tell for Helene and Milton because we haven't collected all the data on what the expenses and the needs are. I'm hopeful that FEMA will respond just like they did for Ian.
We have been hearing a lot about the urgent need of gas across Florida. We actually have a correspondent in Bradenton right now. There are hundreds of cars waiting for gas. How are gas shortages impending recovery in your area?
I was out driving around yesterday, saw some gas stations that didn't have gas, didn't see any long lines. So I think for gas right now, we're doing okay.
How is it to deal? I know Floridians are used to this kind of weather, but what is your message to Fort Myers residents as the city takes stock after not one, but two massive storms to hit this specific state, this specific area?
So there's a couple messages wrapped up into one, and that is we know hurricane season starts June 1st, and it goes through the end of November. And so that's when you should start to prepare, when hurricane season starts. So you've got, if you plan and you prepare, you don't have to panic. The other thing is understanding that the most predictable thing about a hurricane is that it is unpredictable. We've seen that time and time again. And then thirdly, the wind and the water. You can hide from the wind, but you've got to run from the water. And then I assure people that the city of Fort Myers, like all the other local governments in the state, we do our best to prepare for the storm to minimize the impact it's going to have. But more importantly, we stand ready to respond as soon as the storm passes and it is safe. We get our recovery teams out there, boots on the ground, getting the city cleaned up, responding to those calls for service, the 911 calls, helping people who are trapped. The big part, it's up to them to do their part.
Did a lot of people heed the warnings, Mayor Anderson?
I believe this time they did.
Great.
I know there were thousands of people took advantage of the shelters that we opened up.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.